Friends and family, I invite you to please stand as you are able. Thank you, and you may be seated. We're gathered together in this beautiful setting. These friends, family members, to witness, more importantly to bless, the joining together of Nicholas and Colette in marriage. Today we take ourselves out of the usual routines of daily living to witness a unique moment in their lives as they join in the union of marriage. So many ways Nick and Colette are here today because of all of you. You're the ones who have loved them, supported them through the years, brought them to this moment in their lives. So it's only fitting that you are the ones to share this once-in-a-lifetime moment with them. So it is that Nicholas and Colette present themselves to be married today, surrounded by those whom they love the most. And who presents Colette to be married to Nicholas?
Her mother and I do.
Nicholas and Colette, I ask you now in the presence of all these people who love you to declare your intention to enter into marriage with each other. Colette, will you have Nicholas to be your husband, to live together in marriage? Will you love him, comfort him, honor and keep him in sickness and in health, and forsaking all others, be faithful to him as long as you both shall live? Will you?
I will.
Nicholas, will you have Colette to be your wife, to live together in marriage? Will you love her, comfort her, honor and keep her in sickness and in health, and forsaking all others, be faithful to her as long as you both shall live? Will you?
I will.
On behalf of Nick and Colette, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of family members today, and in particular, I'd like to recognize the presence of their parents. And in addition to those who are present with us today in this ceremony, we're mindful of those who are near to our hearts and minds and are with us in spirit. Colette and Nicholas are here today because of you. On their behalf, I offer you their gratitude for not only your presence here today, but I encourage you to do everything in your power to love and support them in the new union they are creating today. Two people in love do not live in isolation. Their love is a source of strength with which they may nourish not only each other, but also the world around them. And in turn, we, their community of friends and family, have a responsibility to this couple. By our steadfast care, respect, and love, we can support their marriage and the new family they are creating today. As friends and family of Nick and Colette, I encourage you to do everything in your power to uphold and care for these two persons in their marriage, to love them, support them, and encourage them. On their behalf, I ask you to remain vigilant in your friendship and know that all of our relationships are strengthened when we have a caring and supportive group of friends willing to be there for us when we need them. As a matter of fact, I'm going to ask you to come good on that commitment here for just a moment in the form of listening to Nick and Colette. They just got a scared look on his face. Don't worry. Instead, they've given me the honor and privilege of being their voice today and sharing with you a bit of their story. Nick and Colette actually met and connected over their shared love of something known as anime, or Japanese animation for the uninformed among us. It all began in 2011 at a 3-day event in Raleigh called Animazement. They met at one of the big group functions and actually danced together that night, I'm told. But Nick says he was too nervous to actually talk to Colette that night. So they bumped into each other again the next day with Colette dressed as one of the anime characters, and Nick was thrilled to show her his tattoo from the same anime show. You may request to see that later on. That first meeting led to lots of hangouts and group dates with friends, but it was over a month before Colette would actually say yes to a real one-on-one date. Once she finally agreed, they met for lunch one day. Nick, being the consummate gentleman, offered to pick up the tab and pay for the bill. So if you're laughing, you know the story already, only to find that his card had been denied. That's how to impress a girl.
Yeah, buddy.
Regardless of that little snafu, Colette and Nick soon realized that they had found a forever kind of relationship. Well, I'm told actually that one of them realized it sooner than the other one, right, Nick? The important thing is she got there. So once you figure out that you found that forever partner, there's only one logical next step. July 3rd, 2016. They were at a friend's lake house with a group of their friends who were in on the surprise, I'm told. Here's Nick's account of how things played out. She's looking nervous. He said, and I quote him on all of this, "We had spent a big part of the day on the water already and had come back to snack and rest. Colette was, in his words, passed out on the couch while we had the TV on. Right when she started waking up, I gave the signal to my friend Mike, who quickly turned off the Batman movie that we have on." I love that he pointed out what movie they were watching. That's important. Before even getting to take a knee, he said, Colette had figured it out and was in shock. She just kept saying, "What?" For what he said felt like 30 minutes. He said, I asked her to marry me and nervously waited until she realized that she had to say something other than "what?" She said yes, of course. And he said we then spent the next hour driving around town to get an actual cell phone service so that she could call her family. Priorities. Nick and Colette, from an anime convention and a declined card on your first date, to pestering one another, as I'm told, but now planning a future together. I believe that you've done an outstanding job of building both a friendship and a relationship. Starting today, you have another job. Now time to start building a marriage. From this day forward, you will be known as husband and wife, as life mates and partners through the good times and, of course, the not so good. You've promised that you will love, honor, and cherish each other, and in a few moments you'll share your vows with one another. But how will you keep those promises? How will you go about turning this friendship into a marriage? Well, today's ceremony, no matter how significant and meaningful, doesn't make your marriage. That's your job. No pressure. But how are you going to do it? I think at least part of the answer is found in the reading that you've chosen for today. I'll share a reading from the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4 through 7. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes in all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. Nick and Colette, in the earlier part of the service, I don't know if you noticed, I think you did, that I never asked you if you love each other or if you're even in love with each other. Instead, my question to you was, will you love each other? In other words, I asked you to say something about your future. I asked you if you will love each other through the coming years, through the good times and the bad, through the easy times and the hard times. I've asked you to predict something that you're going to do next week, next year, years from now. I've asked you about your commitment to each other. And I think those verses that I just read give you some guidelines on how to make that commitment. So bear with me. I'm going to read them again with some poetic license. Nick is patient and kind. Colette is not envious or boastful. Nick is not arrogant or rude. Colette does not insist on doing things her own way. Nick is not irritable or resentful. Colette does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in truth. Nick bears all things. Colette believes all things. Nick hopes all things. Nick and Colette together will endure all things. You see, it's one thing to read that passage and think of some ambiguous concept called love. But when we realize that we have the responsibility to not just be in love, but instead to be love to one another, it can be a bit more challenging. So my hope for you this day and always is that you will keep the promises that you make by being the very embodiment of love to one another. Secondly, in the earlier part of the ceremony, I asked you to make a promise to love one another, but also encouraged your families and friends to make a commitment to you, and I believe that they'll come good on that. I don't know if you noticed that you have a responsibility in all of that. I said that your love is a source of strength with which you may nourish not only each other, but also the world around you. Yes, your love is a source of strength for each other and for your families, but I'm issuing a challenge for you today. I want your love to be contagious to those around you. Your story shows that love always wins. Love binds us together, but our world seems to have lost its collective mind in recent years and needs to learn how to love. My hope is that your relationship will be a shining example of what love is all about. Giving, selfless, sacrificing. Nick and Colette, go forth from this day and show our world how to love. Would you please join me as I pray? Gracious and loving God, bless Colette and Nick who come now to join in marriage. Grant that they may give their vows to each other in the strength of your steadfast love. Enable them to grow in love and peace with one another all their days, that they may reach out in concern and service to the world. We offer this prayer in the name of all that is sacred and holy. Amen.
Amen.
Nick and Colette, I ask you now, as you face one another and join hands, to share your vows of marriage with each other as we all bear witness to your commitment to each other and to this marriage. Nick, I invite you to go first.
Not my presence.
Colette, today I marry you, my best friend, my wife, my faithful partner. I promise to encourage you and to love you unconditionally, through sorrow and success and health and sickness, to lift you up when you are down, to laugh with you and always pester you. I will cherish you wherever our journey takes us, for all the days of our lives. I love you today, my best.
Nicholas, today I marry you, my best friend, my husband, my silly Nick. I will always be beside you, adventuring through life with you. I promise to cherish you, to joke with you, to laugh with you, to cry with you, and lovingly pester you back. I promise to share my thoughts with you, and to listen to you, to trust you, and to comfort you through life's trials and triumphs. May our lives together be overflowing with large and small acts of love. I will love you always, with every fiber of my being.
Can I have the rings, please?
Some tight pockets.
That's a slim suit.
Rings are an outward and tangible symbol of an inward and spiritual commitment, made of precious materials that withstand the test of time, as does the union that we create today. Please take Colette's ring, place it on the ring finger of her left hand, and repeat after me. Colette, I give you this ring
Colette, I give you this ring
as a sign of my vow,
as a sign of my vow,
and with all that I am
and with all that I am
and all that I have,
and all that I have,
I honor you.
I honor you.
Likewise, Colette, please take Nick's ring, place it on the ring finger of his left hand, and repeat after me. Nick, I give you this ring
Nick, I give you this ring
as a sign of my vow,
as a sign of my vow,
and with all that I am
with all that I am
and all that I have,
and all that I have,
I honor you.
I honor you.
Today, Nick and Colette will participate in the oldest marriage tradition that we know of. It predates the exchange of rings. It's known as hand fasting. You may know it better as tying of the knot. Nick and Colette, with this cord, I do bind not just your hands, your hearts, your spirits, your minds, your lives. With the tying of this knot, I do bind together the hopes, dreams, and desires of your friends, of your family, of yourselves for a long and happy life together. These are the hands of your best friend, strong and full of love for you on this your wedding day, as you promise to love one another today, tomorrow, and forever. These are the hands that will work alongside yours as together you build your future. These are the hands that will love you and cherish you through the years, and with the slightest touch will comfort you like no other. These are the hands that will hold you when fear or grief fills your mind. These are the hands that will countless times wipe the tears from your eyes, tears of sorrow and tears of joy. These are the hands that will help you to hold your family as one. These are the hands that will give you strength when you most need it. And lastly, these are the hands that even when wrinkled in age will still be reaching for yours, still giving you the same unspoken tenderness with just a touch. Nicholas and Colette, please receive this blessing upon your marriage. May your life together be blessed with prosperity and good health. May you always share open and honest communication with one another. May you respect each other's individual talents and gifts and give full support to each other's professional and personal pursuits. May you cherish the home and the family that you will create together. May all the years to come be filled with moments to celebrate and to renew your love. May your love be a lifelong source of excitement, contentment, affection, respect, and devotion for one another. Nicholas and Colette, I invite you to please turn and face your friends and family members. Now that Colette and Nicholas have given themselves to each other by solemn vows, with the joining and binding of hands, the giving and receiving of rings, I announce to you that they are husband and wife, and I invite them to seal their vows with a kiss. Friends and family, it is now my honor and privilege to introduce to you for the very first time, Mr. and Mrs. Nicholas and Colette Fryback.
That was a great ceremony. Yeah.